Good evening from Southeast Asia. Where else would I be? I don't know why I'm here. Maybe someday I'll figure it out. Tonight we're going to talk about girls. Again. Girls. Gurls. God, I hate him. Wish I was gay. No, I take that back. Strike that. God dang it. We're going to talk about girls of Southeast Asia because unfortunately, much to my chagrin, I know a lot about them. No, I'm not. Don't even wind me up about that. We're going to talk generally about girls in Southeast Asia. And then farther along through this thing, somewhere towards the end, I'm going to tell you where all of this fits country by country, because all the countries in Southeast Asia are not created equal. There are generalities that are the same, but a lot of stuff is different. And the attitudes and the mores and the morals of the girls is not all the same. They have different systems and methods of stealing from you. That's like the bottom line of it. Okay. I came to Southeast Asia after my wife died. Been married 40 years. Pretty good marriage. Pretty good girl. 40 years. Cancer. Smoking. Don't do it. She had actually quit a few years before she got it. But it was the type that she got only comes from smoking. So we knew that's where it came from. Anyway, just say no. Just don't do it. Now, I came to Southeast Asia not knowing anything about the girls, quote unquote, at all. Not caring about them, not knowing anything about them. And I roamed around Southeast Asia for quite a while before I can't even say I got interested in them. It's just that they will bug you like gnats. Like, oh, that's poetic as hell. I had one girlfriend that bugged the hell out of me. Her name was Nat. It wasn't spelled G-N-A-T, but it might as well have been. Anyway. I didn't come for the girls. I didn't know anything about the girls. I didn't want to know anything about the girls. I just needed to get out of the U.S. and escape the memories. And that worked. That really, getting out of there, that helped me an awful lot. Now, the girls in Southeast Asia are the reason the vast majority of expats from all the Western countries come to Southeast Asia. That's why they're here. Now, they're basically, we can split them up initially into two groups. There are, in Thailand, we called them the punters, Punters, That word doesn't really have that meaning around the world. In Thailand, it just means pretty much a disgusting sexpat. They come to have sex with the girls. That's it. That's all they want. That's all they care about. They could not care less about any kind of relationship. They don't care about the heart and soul of the girls. They don't care. It's all about sex, like a machine, like an animal, just like an animal. Now, those guys, you see them in the U.S., you see them in all the Western countries, and they pretty much make fools of themselves in the U.S. In Southeast Asia, they make fools of themselves there too. It's just that there's so many of them that they kind of blend all together. I'm not going to dwell on those guys at all. When I first came to Southeast Asia, I didn't really like them, didn't associate with them. Sure as hell wasn't one of them. And over the years, well over a decade, bopping around all these Southeast Asian countries, I came to be, I was just tolerant of them, and that was it. And then that deteriorated over the years, and it got to the point where I didn't really like them very much. And I moved out of several buildings because they were full of sex pats. I just couldn't. Man, it's like they never saw a girl in their entire damn lives. They come to Southeast Asia and suddenly they get all these hot girls that they can go sleep with for $10, or whatever. And they go crazy. They're like little monkey kids in candy stores. They're crazy, clinically crazy. And they make fools of themselves wherever they go. Okay. If you're one of those guys, this recording is not for you at all. This doesn't talk to you guys at all. Go forth, have fun, do whatever you want to do. Hopefully you'll treat the girls a little better than you have been. Probably you won't. After all these years and years and years and all these countries and all these experiences, I used to be just really angry when I saw the sex pets mistreating the girls. It still makes me angry. I'd still like to pop them in the mouth. And hopefully someday the opportunity will present itself. But I'm not as angry as I used to be due to the behavior of the girls who, in a lot of ways, just invite it. They just invite abuse. It's hard to feel sorry for somebody who begs to be abused. Yeah, that's a long, complicated psychological study thing, and I'm not going to go there either. We're going to talk about generalities of girls in Southeast Asia. And then, as I said, farther on or more towards the end, I'm going to tell you what countries are most bad for these things. One thing that impressed me right off the top when I first began associating with girls, when I first came to Southeast Asia, and I didn't associate with them at all for many, many months. I just didn't even, they were invisible to me. They brought my food in a restaurant, and why are you smiling at me? What? Why are you smiling at me? I didn't know. I didn't care. I was clueless. I was really, really clueless. All I could think about was my wife, and what am I going to do now? I sure as hell didn't come to Southeast Asia to find a girl. After some period of time, I started thinking, well, maybe it's time to find a girl, and I started looking for them. But in the beginning, no, it wasn't on my radar. The first thing I noticed about Southeast Asian girls was that they tend to be pretty sensitive. I changed my mind. I was gonna lump these all together towards the end and tell you what countries had more of what type of girls and like that. But you can't lump this all together. So I'm going to tell you as I go along through this list of traits. I'm going to tell you what countries have more of each particular trait. Now, girls all over Southeast Asia are sensitive. They're sensitive / spoiled. Man, beyond anything I had ever seen in any Western country, and I bopped around the world 2.5 times, 2.5 times around the world, living in all kinds of different countries, every kind of culture you can imagine. Geez. I had never, ever seen girls this sensitive / spoiled. And I could say that broadly about girls all across Southeast Asia. Where are they the least sensitive and spoiled? I would say maybe Cambodia, maybe Laos. Their lives in those countries are, in many countries down here, they don't say Laos, they say Lao. So, whatever. The girls in those two countries, maybe Myanmar, Burma also, have had lives where they had to get out a little bit and work a little bit, real work with their real hands And they learn stuff. They got some of the little prickly, rough edges knocked off of them. Real life will do that to you. But still, even the most worldly of ones are sensitive. Sensitive. Now, where are they most sensitive? In all of Southeast Asia? Without a doubt, Philippines. These, excuse me, are the most sensitive, spoiled girls by a very wide margin of any girls I have seen anywhere in Southeast Asia. And God knows I know. Now, the girlfriends I've had in Southeast Asia, as far as I'll go, is I'll say that they did not reach, 4 digits. Okay, so I've been around. Philippines girls are, here's an example. I was in the hospital last year for a while, really, really sick. Stupid thing. It was, we don't even know what happened. Apparently it was some kind of poison that was on a bunch of cashews that I ate. That's all we can figure out. That's the only theory we've got. I was really, really sick. And when I got out, I couldn't even walk. I needed help walking. I had a girlfriend, and she had come home while I was in the hospital. She wanted to tidy up the house and clean things up and do some laundry, and she did. And she came home, she took all the bedding, and she washed it. And that was several days before I got paroled. And I thought, God, that's nice. That's a good girlfriend. She's taking care of me. It'd be nice to go home because I couldn't walk. All I wanted to do is somehow get to my condo and flop down on that bed and just lay there for 6 months. That's all I wanted. It was a result of extreme blood loss, right to the point of no return. From cashews, people. Okay, so this good girlfriend, she came home. She washed all the laundry, washed all the bedding, and got me home. By some miracle, got me home. And I went into the bed, and the mattress was bare. And I thought, well, okay, girlfriend needs to get the bedding out of the cupboard that she washed. And I'll try to help her, put the sheets back on the bed and make it up, so forth. And she went, and I laid down on the mattress because I couldn't stand up anymore. And she went in the other room where the laundry was not stored, the bedding was not stored, and she came back, and she had a hanger. Now, she had taken all the sheets, pillowcases, everything, soaking wet out of the washing machine. We didn't have a dryer. She took everything out soaking wet, and she folded it up as tightly as you would fold anything in a department store. And she hung it all on one hanger, and then she hung that hanger over the shower. And it stayed there for 3 days. Was it dry? Not even 1%. Was it mildewed and ruined? 100%. And she brought that in, and she was going to spread that out on the bed. And I said, no, you can't do this. You can't do this. No, this is not going to work. I'm not going to lay on wet stuff. I'm cold and shivering as it is. I'm not going to lay on mildewed stuff. I'm sorry. No, this is not right. You can't do this. You can put these in the garbage. And I didn't raise my voice. Maybe I raised my voice. I don't think so. Sure as hell didn't yell at her. Didn't use any swear words. I didn't say hell. I just let her know this was really unacceptable. And now we got to go buy new sheets. And in the meantime, I've got to lay on the bare mattress, and I'm really, really sick. And she, now, an American girl, German girl, whatever, that would have clicked in her little pea brain, and she would have said, oh, geez, you're right. I didn't even think about that. what the hell? Why did I do this? Oh, I'm really sorry, honey. Okay, I'm going to throw these away. I'm going to go to the store. It's only a block away. I'm going to buy new sheets right now, and don't worry about it. You just lay there for a little while and you relax. And you'll have new, crispy, clean, nice-smelling sheets, and everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. That's what an American girl would have said and done. This girl, Filipino girl, cried. She cried because I was angry. Not because she had done a horrifically stupid thing. She cried because I was angry and I was treating her bad and I was insulting her. Well, no, I wasn't. I was very careful not to insult her because I know about these things and I know about Filipino girls. The point is that the slightest little teeny tiny disapproval with Filipino girls is going to send them into a tailspin tizzy. They're going to cry, they're going to pout, they're going to get angry, they're going to blame you. You're probably going to work through that for a week. Now, this girl never did work through it. She reminded me of that for a couple of months, of how horrible I had been to her. Never once did she say she was sorry. Never once. Never once did she intimate that she realized it was a mistake. What's she been doing with her own laundry? She was, 30-ish. What was she doing with her own laundry for her entire life? She had, she had a mom and 4 or 6 brothers. I can't remember. And they're all, they're doing laundry constantly. They don't have a dryer. They're hanging stuff on the lines. Is this how they did it? Okay. So the point is, Filipino girls, now if a Thai girl would have done that, she would have got it. Cambodian girl probably wouldn't have done it. Burmese girl probably wouldn't have done it. Laotian girl probably wouldn't have done it. Now this isn't one particular girl that was particularly stupid. This is what I find in the Philippines with interactions with, well, I was going to say hundreds, no, thousands of Filipino girls I've interacted with in the Philippines. And pretty much to a person, they are, number one, this dumb, and certainly this sensitive. And I'm wondering, how in God's name do you get through day-to-day life? Shit happens in life. You're going to make mistakes. People are going to call you on mistakes. What are you going to do? I mean, you're going to go to work. You're going to make a mistake. And the boss is going to be whatever the boss is. He's going to be nice about it. He's going to be crappy about it, whatever. Well, you suck it up. And you say you're sorry. And you don't do it again. That's how life works all around the world. Probably on Mars, too. I don't know. I haven't been there in a while. So Filipino girls are sensitive / spoiled to the nth degree. Other girls around Southeast Asia have tendencies in that way, not like Filipino girls. Now, how much time have I spent in the Philippines? I lived here about 10 years ago, something like that, for a while. Been back now for a year and a half in the Philippines. I made trips in the meantime. I've been around the Philippines enough. And I talked to all the expats about their girlfriends, and they all have the same stories. Okay. Around Southeast Asia, what I want you to do here is go through. I'm going to go through this list, and you're going to, because you're sitting there in someplace, Peoria, or someplace, and you're thinking about coming here, and you're thinking, man, if you could just get here, you could find a good girlfriend. Oh, it's going to be so easy. Oh, and she's going to be sweet and nice and smart and lovely and thin, and she's going to take care of you forever, and she can cook, and she can do your laundry, and you'll treat her really. Oh, yeah, okay. So think about the things, as I go through this list, think about the things that you you either can't tolerate or you don't want to tolerate. And you think about, okay, well, if they're that bad in the Philippines, well, maybe in, Cambodia, maybe they're not so bad. Well, in this particular topic, I think they're not so bad. I bopped around in Cambodia quite a bit. Girls seem to be far more down to earth and grounded. Common sense. They had common freaking sense. No, they weren't college educated, but they had common sense to a greater degree than the Filipinos. They did. Okay, next one. English. You go around Southeast Asia. You know before you come here that English is going to be a problem. You're not going to understand how much of a problem. I guarantee it. You're not going to understand how much of a problem. You're not going to understand how much of a barrier, a barricade English is in Southeast Asia. It's a big one. Bangkok, when I first went to Bangkok, it drove me out after a couple of months. That was the number one thing that drove me out of Bangkok was no English. Years and years later, I learned to speak enough Thai that I could kind of sort of bump my way around in Bangkok, But there was no English really at all there when I got there. There's a little more now. There's a little more all the time. But it's in all the countries. Now, Cambodia, they will tell you, oh, yeah, we speak English. They will tell you that flat out. No, they don't. They speak English about as well as I speak Thai. They want to think they're an English country. I don't know why, because Americans kicked their ass in the Vietnam War. We kicked their ass and went way, way overboard and ruined their country. Ruined their country. And yet they have this weird kind of backward reverse affinity for Americans and American things. They try as much as possible to only use American money. And they will try very hard, but very badly, to speak English. It doesn't work. Now, a lot of guys thinking about coming down here, they'll talk to their friends and whatever who claim that they know. Friends all tell them, go to the Philippines because they speak English. Oh, it's great. Okay. Not so much. Now, the girls in Cambodia are trained in school somewhat in English. I get the impression they genuinely like English. They try to use it whenever they can. In Thailand, no. They don't give a rat's ass about English. They do teach it in the school, but it's an afterthought. It's a silly, frilly thing that they are not serious about, even in the slightest possible way. You will not find anyone in Thailand who learned enough English in public school to be able to get any thought across to you or understand any thought that you have. Not going to happen. The girls who have gone to the university in Philippines and got a high degree, some of them speak fairly well. I knew one girl in Thailand in 10 years, and that's all I did was talk to girls, 24/7. That's all I did. Not under four figures, I knew one girl who spoke English pretty well. We could communicate pretty well. Compared to a conversation with an American girl, what percent could I speak with her? I would say 60-70% as well as with an English girl, with a native English-speaking girl. 60-70%, and that was the best one I saw in Thailand in 10 years. Other countries, Laos, forget it. No, 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 just no, no, no. Myanmar, no. Malaysia, no. Singapore, yes. They have fairly good English in Singapore. They speak a kind of a bastardized version of it for whatever reason, nobody knows why, but the English is pretty good in Singapore. But Singapore is a city. It's one city. It's not, I mean, it's a country city, but it, not many people move to Singapore for quite a number of reasons. So kind of just X that off of your list, You ain't going to Singapore except for a weekend. Now, as far as Philippines, what's the score with English in Philippines? Okay, all your friends have told you, oh, go to Philippines. They speak English. It's just like Seattle, Oh, God, it's great. You can talk to all the girls. No, you can't. No. Here's what has happened in Philippines. The Philippine schools, public schools, have really pushed English. They've done an admirable job at pushing English. They want to speak English. I think the Philippines government would rather Tagalog just go away, just disappear. They don't like it. They don't want it anymore. Let's get beyond it. The trouble, the training in the public schools for English for Filipinos has been pretty good. Probably the best in all of Southeast Asia, except for Singapore. They can read the words. They can write the words pretty well, at probably about a 4th grade level. That's pretty good for Southeast Asia. They understand, if you speak slowly and clearly, they understand, probably around 60-70% of what you say. Here's the problem. Here's the fly in the ointment. They can't speak it worth a damn. They cannot speak it worth a damn. I cannot count how many restaurants I have walked out of in the Philippines 10 years ago and now, where I could not communicate well enough in English to place an order for ham and eggs, whatever. Here's the problem. You go in, you sit down, you get the menu, you look, you think, oh, that looks tasty. Well, you sort through all the selections that are not masked out with a piece of tape that says no have. Because that's a big thing in all of Southeast Asia. No have, no have, no have. Do you have eggs? No have. Do you have chicken? No have. Well, they usually have chicken. Anyway, you decide what you want, if they have it. That's a whole nother recording. And you say, I'd like the ham and cheese omelet, please. And you say it slowly and you say it clearly. And they pretty much get it. Pretty much, 60-70%. It's pretty common that they will come back with a completely different thing. Pretty common, I would say 60 or 70%. 40% they bring you the wrong thing. 30-40% of the time they bring you the wrong thing. But anyway, here's what happens is you communicate your order, what you want. And instead of just saying okay and walk away, here's what they should do. They want to try to communicate some other things with you. Now, would you like the special today? That's what they want to say. Would you like the special today? Only they don't say that. They say that in their mind, but that's not what comes out of their mouth. They go, blah, 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 blah. And you stop. You don't want to embarrass them. And so your mind is, the gears are just grinding, trying to figure out what could she possibly have meant. And then you realize, God, you just got no clue. There's no way you can take any parts of that and make any kind of a message out of me. You say, I'm sorry. Again, please. And she will say it a little slower, but she'll say it exactly the same way with the exact same extreme accent. And the second time you're like, oh God, she's going to be really embarrassed now because I didn't get anything more this time than I did the first time. I had no clue what she's saying. She might be saying, would you like ketchup? Would you like an extra egg? Would you like the special? Would you like some coffee? Would you like some water? Or she's pushing some deal they've got going, or, do you want anchovies on that pizza? Or she's saying some god dang thing. Makes perfect sense to her, and when she speaks it, it's coming out of her mouth perfectly clearly. Why can you not understand what I'm saying? Well, because you're speaking gibberish. Stupid. No, they're not stupid. Here's the problem. This is it in a nutshell. The problem is they have been taught the words properly, at least what they look like, how they're spelled. They have not been taught how to speak them without an extreme accent, because all of the teachers have extreme accents and the teachers have no frickin' idea how English words are supposed to sound or how to replicate them. Teachers can't teach. They can teach the written word. They cannot teach the spoken word. So the teacher stands up there and she says, now look at this sentence. It says, would you like to have ketchup with your eggs? That's how it's written out on the blackboard in English. Perfect English, 60, 70% spelled correctly, like that. No punctuation probably, but, that's for university, and she will point that out word by word on the blackboard, and she will tell the little kiddies to repeat after me. And she will speak those words in a pure Filipino Tagalog accent. And the kids hear the Filipino version of the English words. And they learn that and they repeat that. That's what goes into their brain. That's what makes the little neural connections. Nobody but a native English speaker should ever teach English. I do teach English on the side. I don't like it because it doesn't pay anything. Little shits are kind of rude sometimes. I haven't done it for a long time, actually. But I can do it. So that's the problem with English in both Cambodia and Philippines. But in the Philippines, people expect them to speak English, and then they realize that they really, really, truly cannot. They just, no, it's not working. It's not coming out. Sometimes in a restaurant or whatever, if I don't want to just get up and walk out, which I do very regularly, I'll give them about 3 or 4 tries. And sometimes I'll ask them, do you have somebody who speaks better English? And of course that just makes them cry. They're so sensitive. Oh God, that's you just threatened to kill their puppy. That's a mortal sin you've just inflicted upon their eternal soul. Oh my God, they're going to hire their brother to kill you for that. Well, if you want your steak and eggs, and they're screwing it up, you're going to have to ask them, can the boss come and speak to me? I've already told you what I want. I've pointed at it on the menu. Okay, sweetie. On the menu, it's right there. There's a picture of it, and there's the English words. There's the number. It's number 23 on the menu. That's what I want. You don't have to ask me any more questions. I don't care if there's ketchup or not. I don't care. It's okay. Just bring what you have that kind of sort of looks like that thing on the menu, and I will be happy. I'm really not picky. Just shut the hell up and bring me that thing on the menu. God, Jesus. Okay, so that's how it goes. And sometimes after 3 or 4 tries, and they won't bring the boss, or the boss can't speak English either, and you don't know what in the God hell they're asking you. Maybe they're asking you, do you want 10 eggs? You don't know. How would you know? You don't know what the hell they're trying to bring you. And so you just say, I'm sorry. And you just politely and quietly get up and leave. And that makes them feel bad and makes you feel annoyed, because then you got to go to another restaurant and try to place another order. This is really, really regular. If you've been here a long time, you've been here a decade, and especially if you have a little bit of training in Tagalog that helps you with their accents, then you're starting to get some traction. So like any country, a lot of guys come here and they think, I don't have to learn English there because they already speak. I don't have to learn Tagalog there because they already speak English. Well, no, they do not. The girls in Philippines are way more better at English than the guys. The guys just won't even try. They don't care. They don't care. It's all guys here. It's all male expats, and the guys don't want to talk to them anyway. So why should they learn English? The only one who wants to talk to the expats here and the sexpats are the girls. So, and I swear to God, females, their brains are wired in such a way to accept new information a little better than ours. We're kind of stupid in a lot of ways, we really are. In some ways we got the brain of a freaking goldfish. They are better at language in every country. In every country I see this, they are better at learning foreign languages. So anyway, the Philippines is slowly moving on its way to being an English-speaking country, but it ain't there yet, and it's a long way from there, and it's a problem. And the problem comes down to that one thing. They need native-speaking teachers to speak English and teach correct pronunciation and accent and help get rid of their accent. I've tried to do it with girlfriends, but it's one syllable at a time. And you can't just teach them how to pronounce a word one time. You'll have to teach them, 5 or 10 times the same word, the same syllable. If they're having trouble with 2 or 3 syllables in a word, you got to teach each one of them again and again and again and practice. And it's really tedious and it's really time consuming. And it will be annoying if you let it get to that point. Like a guy or a husband or whatever, boyfriend should never teach his girlfriend or wife to drive. It's kind of the same thing like that. It's just, the tempers will flare in about 4 seconds. So teaching language or English is not that bad of a thing. It's not that sensitive of a thing, but it's up there, Okay, so bad English all across Southeast Asia. And guys think they're cutting the fat hog by coming to Philippines where they already speak English. Well, no, they don't. They're paisano. Suck it up. No. It's better. It's slightly better than Cambodia. It's not nearly as good as Singapore. I did not find much English in Hong Kong at all. Thailand, God almighty. Out in the Shire, no, there's zero, not one word. In Bangkok, now there's a little bit of it. You go to the tourist areas in Thailand, you're going to get some English, but all they know is the phrases they've learned from their tricks. They're all hookers, in the tourist towns, they're all hookers. They're all freaking hookers. Pretty much all of them. And, their Johns have taught them little phrases, and so they've got those. And I love you. Ah, gee. Okay. Stealing. How many girls in Southeast Asia steal? Oh my God. What percentage? It goes by country. Some countries are slightly more honest than some other countries. Singapore is fairly honest. I wish I could live there. It's really, really expensive, and they don't want you there. The government doesn't want you there unless you have a lot of money and you're going to stick it into a big corporation. That's pretty much how you're going to get to live in Singapore. Singapore is also very small and very boring after about 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, you've done everything 4 times. There's no place to go. Go out into Malaysia. That's about it. That's about all there is. Will the girls in Southeast Asia steal from you? Yes, 1,000%, 10,000 times. Just write it on the blackboard 10,000 times. Girls in Southeast Asia will steal from me every chance they get. They will. If they think it's worth the time, they'll bring in their boyfriend while you're at the store, and they'll cut the safe out of the wall to take a safe. They steal. The Thais have no moral compunction really too much against stealing, because Buddha teaches that if you do a bad thing like stealing or killing your husband, you do something like that, then it just goes to, you're not going to hell. There's no concept of hell really. There's no God in Buddhism. You just it goes on your karma, it goes on your karmic account. And you can erase that. You just go do a nice thing somewhere, and that erases that bad thing you did. So, I tell a story all the time about girls will go clean out the bank account of their boyfriend, and they get to thinking, oh, that's a little bit of a bad mark, on my karma. I don't really want that hanging on the karma, so I'll go fix it. I'm going to go clean the bathrooms at the local temple for a week. And they set it up, and they go. The first day they got an 8-hour day. They work 3 hours. And the second day they work 40 minutes. The third day they think about going back there, but they don't. But they thought about it, So after a week of thinking about it, then that wipes out, zeroes out the karma account, and they're good to go. Then okay, no problem. There's no hell. There's no God. There's no Jesus. There's no morally bad thing really that can't be fixed pretty easily like that. Now, I thought in the Philippines it was a different ballgame because they are Catholic, and there's God, and there's Jesus, and there's hell. And I thought Filipinas, that's Filipino girls, Filipinas. Filipino means boys or girls. Philippine pretty much means girls. Okay. I thought the Filipinos were scared of going to hell because Jesus said they would. They do a bad thing like stealing is bad. That's a commandment, right? Thou shalt not steal. Maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago they did. Maybe they paid attention to that back then. Nowadays, no. They have no more remorse than a Buddhist. Except in Buddhism, they're kind of quietly urged to, zero out that karma account. In the Philippines, there's no such concept, so they just don't. They go to bed one night and they talk to Jesus and they say, God, I cleaned out that guy's bank account. I'm really sorry. And Jesus says, oh, that's okay, you beautiful, precious little thing. It's okay. I love you. Anyway, thank you for telling me. Now everything's okay. So it's easier, to talk to Jesus than it is to talk to Buddha, I guess. So they'll steal. Philippines girls, Filipinas will steal. I have learned far more than Thais. There are more Filipina thieves per capita than there are Thai thieves in Thailand. I believe that now. I used to think it was the other way around. I moved here mostly because I had a friend who kept telling me, oh, you got to get away from those Thai girls. He lived over there for 10 years, and he came to the Philippines, and he just on and on. Oh, God, it's a beautiful place, and all the girls are lovely, and you'll find a good one in no time, and like that. And my experience has been exactly the opposite of that. Now, he got lucky. He was here a week. He found a really good one. He's been with her for another 10 years. Perfect girl. How many of those are there? I think there's about 11 in all of the Philippines, and I can't find them. I believe, after all these years, all these comparisons, all these countries, I believe now, at this late date, that there are more thieves who will steal from you in the Philippines than any other Southeast Asian country, more than Thailand, and by God, that's saying a lot. That's really saying a lot. Now, I've had a lot of trouble with Muslim thieves in Malaysia, a lot. So maybe Philippines is tied with Malaysian girls. I'm not sure. I didn't spend enough time in Malaysia to really form a strong opinion of it, but Philippines is turning me off pretty much, pretty a lot, just, I left Thailand because of so many problems with girls and governments and things, corruption, stupidity, backwardness, and I thought I was moving up a rung in the ladder by coming to the Philippines. Some ways I did. As far as the girls, I think I went down a rung or two. Lying. Do the girls in Southeast Asia lie? Some guys will tell you if their mouth is open, they're lying. And they used to tell me that, and I defended them, and I would say, no, it's not that bad. Come on, get a grip. And now I'm saying and thinking it's pretty much that bad. It's pretty much that bad in Philippines. In Thailand, it's bad enough as far as lying. Philippines, I think it's worse. In Thailand, what I found was there were very, very few really good girls. God, it was like a handful in the entire nation, kingdom. In Philippines, there are more good girls, but there are more bad ones too. The bad ones are worse. That's what I'm trying to say. The bad Filipinos are worse than the bad Thais. I'm going to draw a graph of that someday. All the girls in Southeast Asia lie. They lie like a rug. They lie when the truth would serve them better. I'm just coming off of a thing. I'm just wrapping up the dating site that I've dealt with here for the last year, a little more than a year. On that dating site, I have dealt and interacted with about 3,600 Philippine girls. 3,600 over the year. I was averaging anywhere from 25 to 75 messages to me a day. It was a really active website, and I thought, man, out of all these, I'm going to find a good one. I know it. I guarantee it. I'm betting my right hand on that. And after more than a year, no, all I found was scammers. Just scammers and cheaters and liars and thieves that, God. Okay, so I am at the point that an awful lot of expats have come to where they just say, that's it. I'm weary to the bone. I'm done. I'm not going to try anymore. Even if I wanted to try anymore, it isn't in me to try anymore with these girls in the Philippines. Probably not anywhere in Southeast Asia, but especially not in the Philippines. They're done. They're going to stay alone. They're going to get a cat. A lot of them, maybe most of them, have come to the conclusion that when they're lonely, they're just going to rent. Don't buy, rent. Just get prostitutes. Because I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't go to prostitutes. I can't. It's like eating cotton candy. That's not even very sweet. I just can't go there. I sort of wish I could, because the problem seems to be solved for these guys. Seems to be the perfect workable solution for them. 2 or 3 times a month, they just go stroll on a certain street they find one they like, take her home. They'll spend the night. They'll talk to you. They'll hug you. They'll kiss you. Pretend like you're a girl, like they are the girlfriend. But they're not. In the morning, anything not nailed down is gone. And they'll go back to their friends. They'll lie about you, insult you. But I don't even care about that. I just, what a prostitute can give me is not something I want. Has no value to me whatsoever. Has zero value to me. God, I wish it did. I wish I was one of those guys. But that's what an awful lot of guys are doing now. They are so disgusted trying to find any kind of meaningful relationship with Filipino girls, or anywhere in Southeast Asia, but especially in the Philippines. They're just done. And I'm there. I'm not almost there. I'm there. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to look for them anymore. I'm just not going to. I don't know where in the world you go to find a good one. Sure as hell not America. Sure as hell not Germany. Ain't even Idaho. I just don't know where they are. Now, the really bad girls I'm talking about are more abundantly found in the last 2 generations. I call it the TikTok generation. Well, TikTok has been around for 2 generations, but I call it that anyway because I like to. It fits. The TikTok generation has ruined girls around the world. It's not just TikTok. It's the whole movement, you know. Really, it's a lost cause. The girls, the ladies, say age 45, 50 and up. Yeah, you can find a much higher class, much better quality of female in that age group and up. Problem I've had with them is that they can't keep up with me. They just can't keep up. Ain't no spring chicken, but I get around a lot. I walk, 7 to 10 miles a day, regardless of the heat. I'm a retired photographer. I'm always out lugging cameras around, taking pictures here and there, and I make videos just about every single day, sometimes twice a day. I'm walking, I'm on buses, I'm in cabs, I'm going to malls, I'm always moving. And the ladies in Southeast Asia age early. So really, from about age 40 up, they consider themselves old. And they act old, and they are old, and they cannot keep up at all. I'd have to have 5 of them. You could probably do that. I don't know. I'd have to have 5 of them to have a reliable companion on any given day. They haven't worked out for me. And the other thing is that on the dating sites, you're mostly going to get hit on by the 18 to 29 year range. I stipulated in this latest miserable stint in the dating site, really good. I consider it to be the best dating site in Philippines, which is crap. It's shit. It's no good, but it's the best one. Anyway, I stipulated age 50 was my preferred. If you're 35, I'll talk to you, but, no guarantees. Because I like stability of older ladies. Okay. I've almost never got anybody 35. They were all 18 to 29. All of them. Why? Well, I don't know. They will try to convince you that they like older men because older men are more stable and we're kinder, and we don't cheat, we don't gamble and stuff like that. They'll try to convince you that's why they want you. Maybe there's some shred of truth in that, but basically, you have more money than the 19-year-old guys, their age. And they want the money. That's it. Suck it up. Accept it. Realize it. Choke it down. That's it. They want the money. They'll put up with your age and your looks because they want the money. And if you're older, the older you are, the sooner you're going to die off, and maybe they're going to be like an insurance policy or something like that. Okay. Southeast Asian girls, do they cheat? God almighty. The most cheatingest girls I ever saw anywhere in the world are in Thailand. My God, they just, I can't even describe it. I can't even put it into words. They cheat as easily as they breathe. Now, it turned out in Thailand I had a couple of girlfriends that, as far as I know, didn't cheat, as far as I could tell. But most of them did. Most of them cheated a lot, very badly. And of course, they're gone, within 60, 90 seconds after I figured it out, they're gone. But they don't care. There's another guy and another guy and another guy. They don't care. In Philippines, do they cheat? Yeah. As much as Thailand, I don't think so. It's the God thing. It's the Jesus thing. That's one thing that might get you sent to hell. Hell is bad. You're going to burn forever. That it doesn't mean cleaning a latrine for 3 days. Forever that's longer than 3 days. And it's you're burning. That's going to suck. So the nuns, the Catholic nuns, have drummed it into their heads that thou shalt not cheat. Is that a commandment? I don't think it is. I don't think God said that, did he? He didn't tell them not to cheat. I'm not sure. I got to go look at the commandments. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Okay, that's one, but that's talking to the guys. I don't think there's anything that tells the girls not to F around. Well, that's an oversight right there. Isn't it? That means that God is flawed. Or maybe he just knew that it was a hopeless wish. There's no point in even marking it down because it ain't going to happen. Ah, geez. Okay. Philippine girls will cheat more than Western girls. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yes. Many, many, many times more. Many times more. Their libidos, all the Southeast Asian girls, their libidos are insane. They're insane through the roof, and I don't know why. Physiological, I don't know. The weather, I don't know. Some theories say, in warmer climates, libidos of girls are higher. I don't know if there's any scientific basis for that. I don't know, but the libidos of the girls in all of Southeast Asia are through the roof. I have had girlfriends who wanted sex minimum 3 times a day. Every day. If they could get it, I don't even know how many times, 5 or 7, I don't know. And I've had to talk to him and say, look, I kind of like I'm not a spring chicken, 3 times a day, maybe, I don't know, but not 5. Oh, really? Come on, you're killing me. Oh, I'm sorry. And then they start thinking about another guy who can take up the slack, So maybe that libido drives them to cheat. Maybe morally they don't want to, but they're just driven. If you're hungry, if you're thirsty, you've been in the desert for a week and you're thirsty, and somebody has a big glass of icy water and they say, here you go, little girl, you can drink this water. If you drink this water, you're going to go to hell and Jesus won't like you anymore. But, here's the water if you want it. Or are they going to say, no, I don't want that water? No, they're going to drink it. And an overactive libido is the same as being thirsty for water. And they can't help it. They just can't help it. So yeah, they're going to cheat. They're going to cheat. What percentage of Filipino girls are going to cheat on their husbands? I just read the stats the other day for American girls. It kind of wavered around depending on who did the study or whatever. It ranged from like 30% to I don't know, around 50%, I think, depending on the study. What's my personal estimate for the percentage of Southeast Asian girls and especially Filipino girls and Thai girls? What's the percentage of them that are going to cheat? I'm going to say 85%. And the other ones don't cheat just because they're too ugly. Nobody will have them. 85% in Thailand. 84% in the Philippines. It's my estimate. All of my estimates are subject to change. Sometimes I'll go along another 2, 3, 4 years, and I'll see things a little differently, but none of my estimates change by very much. Maybe next year I'll think, no, really it should be 82% are cheaters. I'm not sure. Okay. Scammers. Thailand is full of scammers. God, it's overflowing with them like an overflowing plugged up toilet. Jeez. A scammer is not necessarily an outright liar, so that's a different category. Here's an example of a scammer. You got a girlfriend, and this happened to me just a couple of months ago. You got a girlfriend, and she lives across town. She lives on the other side of Manila. And she really wanted to come and see you really bad, and you'd been talking to her a while, and, video chatting and stuff like that. And she seemed like a nice one, okay. And you were pretty sure she was actually going to show up, not just, well, I got to the point, actually with this one, I got to the point where I don't send them money anymore for the cab or whatever. I wait till they show up. If they can't go big borrow it from a friend or something, then sorry. When you get some money, you let me know. You show up, I'll give it back to you. As soon as you get there, I'll give it back to you. Plus your fare home. That's a gentlemanly thing to do. But I'm not going to wire it to you because you're just going to laugh and block me. So anyway, this girl, she wanted to come, and I wanted her to come. I thought, maybe this could be the one. Maybe we can live happily ever after. And so she scrounged up some money. I don't know how she did it because she wasn't working, and she's living in one of the most god-awful slums in Manila. It is the most god-awful. It's, good God. I'll do a video on it sometime. It's been done by a few people, but it's stinking bad. It's stinking bad. Okay, anyway, she lived there. And so it's quite a little trip to get here. And I knew about what the bus was going to cost her. The bus was going to cost her about 170 pesos to get here. And so I said, okay. And my thought was, I'll give her a couple hundred pesos. Or, for the round trip, I'll give her 500 pesos, something like that. So she get a little extra money. She can get some snacks, stuff like that. So she showed up, and we sat down to have a snack. And I said, okay, but by the way, how much was your bus? 1,100 pesos. And I said, no, I don't think it was. I've been around here. I've been there. I've been on these buses. I know what they cost. And I actually asked somebody what the bus fare was from there to here. And it was 170 pesos. No, it was 1,100. Okay. So I choked that down. I thought, well, we'll sort that later. And I choked it down. I gave her 2,200 pesos for the round trip, knowing that I'm being scammed, knowing it full well, flat out. And then we're walking around. She needed to go to one of the drugstores and get some stupid little thing. I don't know what it was, some kind of cream or something, And it's going to be, 80 pesos, something like that, for this little jar. Oh, hey, I got a bug attack. Hang on, I got to nuke him. Yeah, he's doing convulsions right now. Get away. Oh, he's still going. He's a Terminator. Hit him again. Hit him again. Bad. Now he's dead. Now he's 90% dead. Okay. Southeast Asia is a buggy place. Oh, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, she wanted some cream. Die, sucker. Yeah, he's dead now. Not even twitching. Oh, that's good stuff. That's really good stuff. Oh, can I hold it up here? I don't know where else you can get that. Is it reversed in the camera? It's reversed when I look on the screen. Hell, yeah, it's reversed, or some damn thing it's reversed. Oh, well, whatever. Okay, so I let her roam around in this drugstore, and I figured, 70 pesos, something like that, whatever, some stupid little thing. And she got all done, and then she came and got me to pay. I thought she had enough to pay. No, she didn't. So I walked back there, and she didn't have no 70 peso little jar of cream. She had a whole collection of stupid shit. And I looked at it, and it was all stupid girly stuff. And I thought, oh God, that's got to be like 300-400 pesos, you know. Well, okay, you know, maybe this is the love of my life. Probably not, but you know, okay, I don't want to embarrass her, and it's not a big deal, you know. And so I whipped out the card, and they rang it up, chatted in Tagalog, got done, and I looked at the bin, at the receipt, and it was like 69 bucks. Was it 3,000, 3,500 peso. And later in the day, we went somewhere. Oh, we went and had some coffee and donuts. A couple of donuts, good, tasty, you know. And we got done, and she asked if she could take some home to her brother living in the slum. And, to the family, actually. And I said, yeah, sure, you know, get some donuts. Figure she can get half a dozen or a dozen, you know, whatever. And I went outside and waited, and they got it all decided. And I went in to pay, and I didn't see the donuts. I thought they were, you know, they're probably in a box behind the register or something like that. And I paid with a card, and didn't think anything about it, you know, a dozen donuts, what the hell. And then the cashier lifted up her order of donuts. And it was a bunch of huge bags, and it was 8 dozen. And I can't remember what the charge was, but it was horrific, you know, for donuts. And I put her on the bus, and that was that. Blocked her. So those are the kinds of things that scammers will do. They get much more in depth than that. Much more. Far more. Vastly more. They'll go in it for the long haul. Now, I'll tell you this story. I'll try to tell it quickly. This is a guy I know personally, and I have told this story before, and he has verified that this story is absolutely correct and true in every detail. And the deal was, that guy was living in the States, and he met a nice Filipina girl online, and they chatted for, I don't know, like a year or two, video chatted, you know, every day, a couple of times a day, on and on and on, every little thing about their lives, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. And finally, after a year or two, he had saved up enough to make it all work. He was going to move her to the U.S. And he set it all up. He got her a visa. The visas are really expensive. It take about a year to get, because the U.S. doesn't really want Filipinos going to the U.S. They're going to make it as hard as humanly possible to get them there, because they know the score. They know the score better than you do. You want a Canadian to come into the U.S.? No problem. You want a Filipino or Southeast Asian girl? No. You're going to be running the gauntlet trying to get her in there. And a very high rate of failure. If they find the slightest little discrepancies in their stories, they're done. Visa canceled. No, you don't get it. Okay, so he finally flew down to Philippines. And as I recall, he stayed with her at her parents' house for quite a while. I'm thinking as much as a year. Because he wanted to be really, really sure. Yeah, that's right, he did. Yeah, he stayed with her for a year, I believe, while they were getting the visa. And got along fine. Everything was fine, and they're happy. And they want to go back to the States, and he's got a house all ready for her that he built for her. And he had a good job there, and they're going to get married in the States. And finally the visa's all done and ready, and oh God, she's so happy. Family's so happy, and he's so happy. Okay, so he had to go back like a week before her and get everything all ready, I guess. I don't turn on the heater or something. I don't know what the hell. And he got there, and then her flight came up, and they're talking. She gets on the flight. They're talking. I'm getting on the airplane now. I'll see you soon. Well, not soon. It's 14 freaking days on the airplane or something. 14 hours. And anyway, so he goes to the airport and he's hanging around, waiting. And her flight lands and he can see the people coming out of the gate, I guess. I don't know if he was airside or exactly what the deal was, but he could see the people coming out of the gate. There was no way he could miss anyone coming off of that airplane, is what I'm trying to say. And so they all pile off. Airplane unloads, and then nobody else comes off. And he goes to the stewardess and he says, "Hey, my girlfriend didn't get off. What the hell? You know, you got to have some, maybe she's in the bathroom." And so they went in and they searched the whole plane. No girlfriend. Nobody there. Under the seats? No. In the cockpit? No girlfriend. And he's like, what the hell? So they go back out and they verify. Yeah, she was, got passport number, got everything. Yeah, she was on the plane. She was on the plane, but now she's not on the plane, and she didn't open the emergency exit over Denver, And he's just trying to figure out what in the hell? What is this, some kind of magic rabbit in the hat thing? What the hell? And he's sitting there all distraught trying to figure it out, and then it hits him. As the passengers were de-embarking, there was a big crowd of family members. They were very loud and very boisterous. They were all Filipino. And they ran up to meet someone coming out of the gate. And they surrounded that person. They're, "Oh, we love you. Oh, we missed you so much. Oh, we're so happy you came." He didn't think anything about it because it wasn't his girlfriend. She was going to meet him, That was her. That was her whole plan. From the first time she talked to him online, that was her plan. She got her visa to get there. She didn't care about anything after that. They'll get her fake papers or they'll put her to work in the family laundry, whatever the hell. She just had to get through the damn immigrations to get there. And she did. He never saw her again. Now, you think, oh my God, that's a horrible story. Oh, that's terrible. Well, yeah, it is. But it's incredibly common. Stupidly common. And I have a lot of stories like that. Lots and lots and lots of them. Maybe I'll tell them one after another sometime. I don't know. Okay, scammers. She was a scammer. She was a big-time scammer working the long shot, and lots of them will work the long shot years down the road. They got a picture of what they want. They know how to get it. They don't give a rat's ass about your heart or your soul. They don't care. I mean, they have no remorse whatsoever, not one molecule. They don't care. You don't exist to them as a human being. You are not a living thing. Yeah, no more value than a rat in the field. Maybe they'd feel bad about taking the pitchfork to the rat. They wouldn't feel bad about taking the pitchfork to your heart. They don't care. Now, I haven't run across anything that horrific. I've run across some pretty bad stuff with cheating and lying and stealing and scamming. Conning. The worst of them that I have seen anywhere in Southeast Asia. I got really bad stories out of Thailand and Laos and Cambodia and Myanmar. But the worst stories I have are out of the Philippines. I've only spent a few years in the Philippines. I spent a decade in Thailand. I've seen more of Thailand, but I have fewer stories to tell out of Thailand about scamming ladies. I have more stories to tell about the Philippines. So you think Philippines is a place for you? Well, I'm not thinking it's a place for me so much anymore. Maybe. Luckily, I don't care too much about female companionship anymore. I've been burned too many times. I don't care. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I don't trust them any more than I would trust a rattlesnake in my bed, and I mean that literally. Literally. Are there good ones in the Philippines? Yeah, I guess there are. I have no. Well, I'm going to say I have no clue where to find them, but I do. And I'm going to tell you towards the end of this, I'm going to tell you where to find the good ones. Or at least the better ones. I don't know. Okay. What's the attitude of the Filipino girls? I have never been insulted more in my entire life. Long. Look at me. I'm 1,000. I'm older than Yoda. My life has been long. It's been insanely active. I've never been insulted more in my life than by Philippine girls. I have been insulted more in the last year and a half. Just talk about the last year and a half. More in the last year and a half by Filipino girls than in the entire rest of my life prior to this put together. In all the countries around the world, in all the states, in all the businesses, in all the girlfriends, in all the everything, I've been insulted by Filipino girls significantly more, probably 3 times, 4 times, 5 times more than by all the other women I've known or interacted with around the world 2.5 times. Now you think about that. Nastiest, most caustic, insulting, rude girls I have ever come across in my entire life. Bar none. Easy to say that. I don't have to think about it. I'm done. I'm done with them. I'll have a cat. Let's have a cat. Filipino girls are incredibly arrogant and conceited. Now, all Southeast Asian girls are. All of them. Thai girls, particularly. But Filipino girls more. My God. I've never come across a class of females more arrogant or conceited. And I suppose that ties into their rudeness and their insulting behavior, I suppose. The thing about arrogance and conceit is, if you can walk the walk, it's okay, you can talk the talk. I'm reminded of Chuck Yeager. Arrogant, ass, hole, jackass. But he could walk the walk. Therefore, he earned the right to talk the talk. And I would shake his hand. I think he's dead, I don't know, but I would if he was alive. Hell, I'd check it if he was dead, I don't care. But Southeast Asian girls can't walk the walk. They got nothing. They don't have knowledge. They don't have worldliness. They don't have wisdom. They don't have diddly shit. And that's fine. I didn't either when I was 7. But I knew it. And I didn't act like I knew stuff. I knew I didn't know anything. So I listened. And I learned. Filipino girls, no, they know from the moment of birth, I guess. They know that they know everything, and they are the hottest, most intelligent, wisest beings on the face of the earth. And if you don't bow down to them, then F you up the ass, because it's your loss, dipshit. That's what I get from Filipino girls. That has been a major factor in driving me off from wanting to marry one. I can't stand that arrogance. No, that's not true. I can take the arrogance. It's fine. If they got something to be arrogant about. They're a master world-class piano player. Yeah, be arrogant about it. It's okay. I mean, it's better if you're not, but it's okay if you are. It's okay. It's not going to bother me. But you got nothing going on? Never been out of Manila? No, you don't get to be arrogant and conceited. You're not a princess. Truly, you're not a princess. Thai girls are bad about it. I do not. I haven't seen anything approaching that degree of conceitedness in any of the other Southeast Asian countries. Thailand would be second to Philippines. It's a distant second. Philippines is by far number one in arrogance and conceit. Oh, God. Reliability of your girls in all of the Southeast Asia countries, a little bit of exception with Singapore. They are the most unreliable creatures on the face of this earth. And they'll tell you flat out, if I say I'm going to be there at 9, you better figure on 11, because that's Filipino time. And they're not ashamed of it. They don't understand that the world needs to have a schedule to run. What if all the trains and shit, well, we'd like to arrive on Tuesday. It could be Wednesday or Thursday, whatever. We don't care. Maybe we'll stop along the way. We're going to sleep in. No, the world cannot run like that. It cannot. And they're amazed that expats show up when they say. They're amazed by it. They're just blown away with, why? You say you're going to be there at 9 o'clock. You're there at 3 minutes to 9. What the hell is that all about? That doesn't make any sense. Why do you do that? Why do you go to that much trouble? Okay. They're late for everything. And not showing it all across Southeast Asia. A little bit of exception for Singapore, a little bit of exception for Hong Kong. And the same thing about being late in Hong Kong. It's not so bad. I mean, they don't do it so much. They just probably won't show up. They just, how often? 50%. Just won't show up. Won't call. Won't message. Just don't show up. Well, I don't know. I get busy. Maybe I'll come tomorrow. And I just say, no. No, you won't. Block. Because my patience is gone. Just gone. Physically, the girls in Southeast Asia, how do they stack up? Okay. Thais came mostly from a certain part of China. So they have those genes. Philippines came from a number of places, about 5 or 6 different places. They were mostly Malays from Malaysia. So they have that look. They don't look like Thais. I can spot them a mile away. They don't look like Thais. At all. Really, at all. Thais tend to be very thin. I think that's a little bit of a Chinese trait in the genes. I don't see a lot of really fat Chinese. I see more thin ones than fat ones. Not like LA, In the Philippines, their diet is horrible. Tends to make them, I was going to say plump. No, they're not plump. They're fat. Their diet tends to make them fat. Genetically, I believe also their DNA tends to predispose them to fatness. If you are coming here to find a wife and you like heavier girls, one of my closest friends does, he can't stand anything but a heavier, chubby girl. A thin girl just makes him sick to his stomach, makes him want to throw up. And that's all he would ever be with. Okay, that's fine. You're in hog heaven when you get here because that's what you got. I go, like I said, I walk 6 or 7 to 8 or sometimes 10 miles a day around Manila. I can go for a couple of days sometimes and never see a girl that I consider attractive. In the markets, in the restaurants, in the stores, whatever, in the malls. Sometimes I go for very long periods. I don't see one that's even even remotely attractive. They're heavy. They're heavy. The diet's only getting worse. The DNA is not changing, but the diet is getting worse. They're heavy. So I am the opposite of that friend of mine. He could not stand to ever be with a thin girl, even an average weight girl. He can't stand it. It just makes his skin crawl. The thought of kissing one is like, oh my God, no, I ain't kissing no worm. Okay, I feel exactly the same way about overweight girls. So this is a bad place for me for physical attraction. It's a bad place. It's a really, 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 really bad place. On the dating apps, how often do you get overweight that's beyond your red line? I would say, in my experience over this last year, over a year in this one dating app where I've interacted with the 3,600, I would say the overweight ones probably make up somewhere around 85 to 90% of everybody who sends me a message. 85 to 90%. So that leaves 10 or 15% of ones that I would even remotely consider, because I feel the same way as that other guy, just in reverse. I mean, you're not going to marry somebody that you're physically repulsed by. He would never marry a skinny girl. He just couldn't ever bring himself to do it. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. And I'm the same way, just in the opposite direction. I mean, we all like what we like. We don't like what we don't like, and it, for the most part, we're not going to change it. Yes, personality, character, heart, all that stuff. It's probably the most important thing. But the other thing, physical attraction, is really, really important too. Without physical attraction, you don't have a wife, you don't have a girlfriend, you have a friend. Okay? I want more than a friend. So that's a big problem for me. Now, a lot of guys, I know guys, I talk to them, and they say, of all the Southeast Asian countries, they think the girls in the Philippines are the prettiest of them all. Well, to them, to their taste, they are, and that's perfectly fine. Good, they're in the right place, they're happy. That's not in line with my taste. Sorry, suck it up. I find Vietnamese girls number one for attractiveness. Thai girls number two. Chinese girls number three. Laotian girls not so much. Cambodian girls, they're okay. Filipino girls, of all Southeast Asian countries, Filipinos are the least attractive to me. Least. Easily. Are the Southeast Asian girls smart? No. No. Their education systems suck. All of them are bad. Philippines has one of the best education systems, probably outside of Singapore and Hong Kong. Did you know, by the way, that the Hong Konger, well, there's no such thing as a Hong Konger now, since China stole it. But when it was a separate entity, kind of a separate country, I mean, you had to have a passport to go from Hong Kong to China. It was two separate places. Now it's all the same. Anyway, the Hong Kongers can't stand the mainland Chinese. Because they thought they were stupid. And I could go to Hong Kong and I could see every minute of every day that the Hong Kongers were more intelligent than the mainland Chinese. They just were. That's all there was to it. You could see it. It's obvious. you get into a whole murky swampland when you start talking about intelligence and wisdom and education. They're kind of sort of mixed together, but not completely. So I don't. In Thailand, I used to ask everybody, because I like to measure the people so I could get to know them. I would ask people, the Thais, what do you think about that International Space Station? And 8 or 9 out of 10 would say, well, that's bullshit. That doesn't exist. Do you think that exists? Are you really that stupid, talking to me? And you can't argue with them because they know everything. I tell the story. I was in a school in northern Thailand. There was a globe in the back of the room, a world globe. And I was going to give a talk about speaking English, in English, which none of them would have understood. But I glanced a couple of times at that globe. What the hell kind of thing is that? It was all black, almost all black. And I thought, what the hell? And it was before the session had started, and I walked back there. And it was a world globe. It was, I don't know, 2 feet diameter, maybe, something like that, 20 inches diameter. And it was all black. And crudely done. It was a magic marker. They had marked it off. They had marked off every piece of land on the globe with magic marker, except the oceans and the big lakes, and except Thailand. Marked it off. I don't know how many magic markers. 50 of them. I don't know. It must have been a class project. That's probably why it looked like shit. They don't want to know. They don't want to learn. Philippines is not like that. Philippines wants to learn. They do. They're a little bit westernized because of the American influence that was here through the war, and after. I don't know who instilled upon them this desire to learn, but they have it. They want to learn. They want education. In terms of education, the Filipinos have most other Southeast Asian countries beat hands down. But they're still not up to any Western standard. They're at about the 6th grade level, probably. And Thailand is about at the 3rd grade level for education. But the Filipinos do better than most other countries. Maybe not Singapore, maybe not Hong Kong, probably not Hong Kong. But all the rest of the countries, the education system is much worse than the Philippines. Philippines have the desire to learn. Most other countries do not. They do not care, like Thailand. They just black out the globe because they don't want it to exist. None of the Southeast Asian countries have really a very good basic understanding of the world. I used to ask them around Southeast Asia, what do you think about that whole World War II thing? Oh, I don't know. I might have heard about that. I'm not sure. I don't know. What was that? They just don't know. And they haven't been taught. Philippines was painfully aware of it because it happened right here. So they are educated about that, but they're not educated about all kinds of other things that the West considers to be just the basic bedrock of knowledge, Hygiene, personal hygiene, what about that? Thais are probably the cleanest people, personally, that I've been around. I mean, the shower once a day is, automatic. That's, twice a day. How many Thais shower twice a day? Probably 85%. How many shower 3 times a day? Probably 40%. In the Philippines, mostly once a day, you're good to go. Maybe you skip a day. The girls are not as clean as Thais. Sorry, they're not. They're not. Period. I mean, some are, but generally speaking, no, they're not. And I mean that in a number of ways that I'll leave to your imagination. I have found all Southeast Asian girls to be quite illogical. Examples? No, I don't have any ready examples. I'll save that for some other recording. I have come to understand over all these years in all these countries, when I first got to Southeast Asia, I saw pretty quickly that the guys, whether Thai or Filipino or whatever, treated the women horribly, badly, shockingly badly. They did not give a rat's ass about them. They were just a thing to be used and then tossed away, period. And I thought that was horrendously bad. Illegal. I mean, grossly, criminally illegal in lots and lots of ways. So bad. The treatment was so bad. After all this time, all these years, all these thousands of interactions with all these girls in every possible context, I understand the guys more. Instead of treating the girls badly, I wish they would just walk away from them. But these girls will, they could make Gandhi hate them, or at least disrespect him. They really have very little understanding of what it takes to keep any kind of a relationship going. It's all about them. It's them, because they're somebody, probably their mommy, I don't know, somebody has told them they're a little princess. And all the boyfriends they ever had told them that, during sex, yeah, you're the one, you're the best one in the world. Oh, God. And then, 8 minutes later, they're gone. But that part of it stuck with the girl. You're the best one. You're the best girl on the entire face of the earth. That part that stuck in their brain, because that's what they wanted to hear. And so they believe it. That's the part they believe. And that's the part they hang on to. And that's the part that they want everybody to see in them. I was talking about rude Filipino girls. And I've got a note that I tacked down here down to the bottom. I'm going to give you an example of a rude Filipino girl. I was talking to a girl in a dating app. And it was right out of the gate. I just barely was talking. Hi, how are you? What's your name? Where do you live? Like that. And she said, are you married? I said, well, if I was married, I wouldn't be on a dating app. Left it at that for a minute. And she said, were you married before? I said, yes, I was married 40 years. Happy. And she said, what happened? Did she leave you? And I said, no, we were happy. I just said we were happy. She died of cancer. And she said, oh, good. She died because she hated you. And the only way to get away from you was to die. And I didn't have a comeback for that. I blocked her and reported her, and she lost her account. But that's pretty indicative of the kind of shit that I get from Filipino girls. Now, 10 years in Thailand, I never ran across anything even remotely, not even slightly remotely like that. And not in any other country, not even in America, where the girls are pretty frickin' rude, caustic and shitty. But I've never run across stuff like that anywhere in the world except in the Philippines. And that's not a one-off. That's not an isolated thing. I was turning in, out of the 25 to 75 girls contacting me a day, after 6 or 8 months, that wound down to probably a max of about 25 or 30 a day. About 25 or 30 a day. It's still running at this moment. It's scheduled to expire within a few days, but it's running about 25 or 30 a day. Okay. Where was I going with that? I've been doing this a long time. I'm getting tired. I almost wrapped up here. I got to collect my thought here. Just a minute. Okay. Out of that volume of interactions, starting out messaging, typing messaging, and then going on to video chats and, like that. I was reporting on average 2 to 5 a day for rudeness of that magnitude. And as far as I could tell, they all lost their accounts, but it doesn't matter. They just make up a new name. They come right back on. 2 to 5 per day over the last 14 months, whatever the hell it's been. 2 to 5 per day. That's just one dating site. And they're all the same in the Philippines. 10 years in Thailand, I ran dating sites continuously, all the time, never stopped. Never had one instance of rudeness to that degree. Never one time. Not in any other country anywhere in the world. So when I say Filipinas are the rudest girls on the face of the earth, I mean it. At least in my experience. From where I've been in the world and what I've done in the world. And it's been a lot. Okay, now I promised. Close to the end. Now we're close to the end. Are there good girls in Thailand? Yes. But even the very, very best ones, I would never trust them 100%. Never. The ones that I have known, wives of friends and things like that, who I considered to be the best girls in Thailand, the best, the cream of the crop, the top 1%ers. They stole from their husbands and bragged about it, joked about it, and they cheated on them and bragged about it and joked about it. I don't know one who didn't. Okay, there you have it. In Thailand, I don't know one who didn't cheat or steal. I don't know one. Okay, in the Philippines, are there a few that don't cheat and or steal from their husbands? I think so. I think a few more are good that way than in the other countries. But they're bad in every other way. And it's only a very, very few that are good in that way. So if you want to find a good one, there are 2 things you can do. If you are in a major metropolitan area, especially one that has a lot of expats, you're not going to find one by walking around. You're not going to find one by going on the dating sites. The competition's too high. I don't care what you look like. I don't care how much money you got. You're not going to find a good one. You're going to find prostitutes, whores, sluts, pieces of shit. That's all you're going to find. That's all you're going to find. That's all you're going to find. The good ones don't stay on there anyway. Even if they accidentally go on there, they don't stay on there because the guys are such shitholes. The guys drive them off, demanding naked pictures and on and on and on. The girls tell me around 60 to 80% of the guys on the dating sites don't ask, they demand naked pictures. Just pieces of shit. Pieces of shit. We call them sex pats, punters, pieces of shit. And I got a lot of stories about those effing assholes. To find a better class of girl, go to church. I don't care if you're not religious. I don't care if you're not Catholic. Go to church anyway. It's not going to kill you. It might help you. A lot of good stuff to be found in religion, even if you don't believe in God, even if God doesn't exist. There's a lot of good stuff to be had from Christian religion. 10 Commandments. Start with that. Good stuff. Except I still think he didn't tell women not to cheat on their husbands. Is there anything in there? 10 Commandments? Come on, scholars. My best friend in the world is a Lutheran minister. I'll ask him. I will, really. God, I want to know. It tells guys not to screw around. I mean, he must have known the girls were going to screw around. Okay. Go to church. You dress reasonably well. You just show up. Anybody can go. You just walk in. You got a pony up some cash, in the little coffers. 1,000 pesos, something like that. $18, Do it. And after you go for a few times, try to sit in the same place. You have a routine, and people will notice you, and they'll start, hey, how you doing? My name is Pepe, what's your name? I've seen you around a few times, and how you doing? Where are you from? You live here? They're not going to approach you until you've been there around there a little bit. So, plan on investing a month or even 2. But they will approach you. They will get to you. And if you're personable, if you're not an idiot, they will start to invite you to little gatherings and things, maybe, right after church, maybe a picnic, something like that. Go. You go. Maybe you don't want to. I don't care. You go. Anyway, you go. And even if you don't want to, you might find that it's a hell of a lot more fun than you thought it was going to be. And you sit around and you're mild and you're polite and you smile. And people will talk to you. And pretty soon, really quickly, they're going to start asking, are you married? You got a girlfriend? Because they all love playing matchmaker. And you say, no, I don't know. I'm just alone. I don't know what's going to happen to me, like that. And the little wheels will start turning, and you'll get invited more places. And you'll find that when you go to those places, there will be girls there who just seem to sort of just happen to be there, but no, they were invited and they were told that you're going to be there. And you're casual. You keep everything at arm's length. You take your time. You just you just go with the flow. And if you find a good church-going girl, it doesn't mean she's going to be that good of a good girl. It just means there's a little higher incidence, and it's a good way to meet them and also to meet their family. If their family, pretty soon you're going to get invited to the girl's home. If it's a nasty, horrible place, and they got fighting cocks out in the back, and the dogs are yipping, and the brothers are boozing it up, and just exit, just get the hell out. That's not what you're looking for. But I don't care if they're poor. I don't care if they're poor. I don't care if they're uneducated. If they are nice and the home is clean and nobody's drunk and they aren't loud and they're respectful, then you got a chance. Maybe. You just play it through. You see what happens. It takes time. But look at me. I've been in this dating site for over a year. I don't have anything to show for it. If I had gone to church, I might have a nice girlfriend and be enjoying life quite a lot, even in the Philippines. That's one way. Another way is to get out of the cities. Get the hell out of Manila. For God's sake, get out of Angeles. For God's sake, get out of Cebu. Davao, maybe. Go to some place where there's not a lot of expats. Don't go to some scabby little asshole pimple sticking up off the butt of society like Dumageddon. Don't frickin' go there. Jeez, oh my God, what a festering boil. I know lots of guys love Dumageddon. Up to them. Pick places that aren't mentioned. Just look at a map and poke in names of little towns that aren't mentioned in Google. They're not a tourist trap. There's nothing there. Okay, they're all Filipinos. Yeah, you're going to go there. You're going to have a hard time ordering scrambled eggs, whatever. You suck it up. You get a hotel. You hang around for a week. You're polite. You're nice. You're going to meet girls. You're going to meet girls who are not probably prostitutes. Maybe they're not scammers. Maybe. You still got to watch them. I found scammers even out in the provinces. Well, actually quite a few. I don't think as many as in the cities or the tourist traps, the expat cities. Hang around, see what happens. You'll meet girls out there who are shy, painfully shy. If they come and approach you, no. You just pretend like you don't. I said, speaking no English. No. Find a restaurant where you get a little eye contact from a girl, and you go back there a couple of times a day. And then finally you talk to her a little bit. It takes a little time with a good girl. You're only going to take a bad girl home the first or second or third night. If they're going home with you the first, second, third night, first week, no, you don't want them to go home with you. It's not what you're looking for. They're trying to seal the deal. You want a girl who is not looking for a deal. She's looking for another soul to be next to. You gotta be friends first. I mean, it's a stupid old line, but it's true. If there's no friendship, there's no love. Because the friendship is the foundation that the love is built on top of. If there's no friendship, there's no love. Period. There, I said it. I said it first. Maybe. Probably not. If you can't forge a friendship with a girl, you say, sorry, it didn't work out, and you move on to the next. You're not looking for a girlfriend. You're not looking for a wife. You're looking for a friend. A friend. That's all you're focused on. That's all you want. You want a friend. If it turns out that you find love in that friendship, then go for it. All right? That's not all my advice. It's not all my stories. This is just one little rant. I got lots and lots more, and when I get riled up about some situation, I'll make another video. Okay, thank you very much. Hope my computer doesn't choke on this. Probably lost the whole file. Thank you very much, and good evening, and camera there. Good night. Jeez.